No matter what, people will commit to misunderstanding you. What's most important is your commitment to understanding yourself. Hello, you guys. My name is Nkirka Madani, known as NK, and welcome back to Misunderstood. Today, we're talking about dating, and I wanted to frame it right off the jump as a girl talk episode. I think it's really important for me to get on this mic and every now and then peel back a little more about myself, as I do. But I really think back to all the episodes I've really went there with my stories. And this one might be a little bit of that. Honestly, I didn't write down any notes for this episode. All I wrote down was the title of this episode. I knew that I wanted to talk about dating. I knew I wanted to share a few stories about things that have happened in the past that have kind of resurfaced and make them, of course, relatable stories that you guys can take from, know that you're not alone, and we can all just get through it together. So in specific, we are talking about being the single friend, dry spells, and rejection is redirection. I really feel very strongly about each and every one of these subtopics when it comes to dating, relationships, love, sex, all of it. All of it is connected. And I think it's important to talk about the things that a lot of people don't talk about because we all are going through our own version of something. We all feel as though other people have it all perfect and nothing's wrong when that's not the case. People just don't talk about the things that suck, and people don't talk about the things that we kind of all want to hear from others. So that is kind of where my head is at right now. Before we get into today's episode, take some time right now to rate this show, Misunderstood, 5 stars. We love the podcast. We want it to continue. And rating the show is quite literally the best way to support the show. Of course, listening is deeply important. And I think every single person who has ever streamed this podcast, that means so much. But to further truly help the podcast, please take some time to rate the show, Misunderstood, 5 stars on both Apple and Spotify. If you feel so inclined, leave a written review on Apple Podcasts. That helps other people learn more about the show. Thank you so much. Before we get into what I really want to talk about today, I think it's always very important to set the scene. I try to set the scene every single episode with how I'm feeling as I am on the mic right now so that you guys know where my head's at. For the past few weeks, I really have been feeling a lot of feelings toward lack around dating. It's really important to share that on the mic. And before we go any further, I think it's very important to also remind the public that this podcast is female owned, female run, and it is for the female audience. I have never and will never be speaking to anyone other than the girls. This is for the girls, and we are doing a girl talk episode, but truly every single episode, this is geared toward a female audience. And I feel it's really important to say that when this podcast is a public domain, anybody can listen to this podcast, and by all means, listen. However, when it comes to commentary, I only want to hear from the girls, truly. To be so honest and frank, I only want to hear from the girls because that is who this is for. That is who I'm speaking to. So now that's out of the way, let's just dive into our subtopics. First and foremost, being the single friend. I have been the single friend for a long time. If you're new here, I have been single since May 2021. So we have been single for 5 full years. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all because in the 5 years of being single, I have accomplished so many of my dreams. I have done so much for myself, and I took back autonomy of my life in ways that I didn't at all when I was in relationships in the past. I've had 3 true relationships where I was a girlfriend. And since then, in these 5 years, of course, I've dated. Of course, I've been with other people in short spurts, but I have not been a girlfriend in 5 years. There is a lot of mental gymnastics I do in my brain every single time I think about how I have been single for as long as I've been, because society, unfortunately, puts a microscope on women who choose to be single. Here's the thing. I've said this so many times before. If I wanted to be in a relationship, I would have been in one yesterday. I could have been in a relationship in so many eras of my life in these past 5 years. That's not the issue. And that's not really what we're talking about. I have chosen to be single this long. I've made a conscious decision not to settle. I would love to be in a happy, healthy partnership where I feel valued, where I feel pursued, where I feel truly in my feminine. That would be great. That's what I want. I'm a lover girl. I'm a romantic. I want love and I deserve it. And anybody who's listening who wants love, you deserve it because you deserve the things you desire. I'll stand on that. I'll die on that hill. However, thinking about the role of being the single friend, I want to speak to anybody who is maybe in a big friend group. You feel left out at times because you might be the only one single, or you have a long span of time where you've been essentially the perpetual single friend and you've kind of felt like you can't connect with your friends because you are single. And I'll say, I think it's really important for friends in friend groups to not abandon their single friend, of course, make them feel wanted, make them feel valued, make them feel a part of the group. That is their job, of course. But just thinking about the single friend, that trope, that archetype, I think it can be tough on your self-esteem. It has been tough on my self-esteem at times where I have been pushed aside by other friends who get in relationships and act like I don't exist. There have been times where I've been passed up by guys who I have been really interested in and I would like it to go somewhere and then it doesn't. So in group settings, when I'm with my friends, at times I have felt singled out. I have felt a little more lonely because I don't have someone to go home to after a night out with the girls. And I don't have someone who is kind of that built-in person to lean on. I don't have that. And I haven't had that in a long time. So it's interesting. You kind of get used to being alone and you kind of get used to your own company. And I'm very comfortable with myself. I'm very in tune with myself. And I think that is a really big upside of being single for a long span of time. You don't just jump from relationship to relationship. I don't think that's very healthy. That is my opinion. But I do think that there is a lot of beauty in your singlehood. I've mentioned that before. I think time being single, you grow. You grow so much more than if you were in a relationship. I've also mentioned that in the past 3 relationships I have been in, I felt as though I was sacrificing a lot of myself and a lot of my aura for this other person. And that's not how it's supposed to be. A healthy, good relationship is not supposed to be you sacrificing your whole being for the sake of your partner. That's not even a partner. I can't even say that's a partner. That's just a person who isn't giving you what you need. It's a reciprocation. It is a give and take. Of course, there's compromise, but I have just felt in the past that I wasn't really a whole person when I was in those relationships. I was still growing. I was still finding myself. I don't regret the relationships. The relationships taught me that I needed to be on my own. And now here I am, have been alone and have been single for 5 years. And I am so ready to be in a relationship. I have been ready to be in a relationship. I've worked so hard on myself. And I think there's so much to be said about that work you do with yourself before you then are ready to welcome in the right person. I do believe that. I do hate when people say you'll meet the right person when you're ready and when it's time. I hate when people say that, but there is truth to it. There's truth to the concept of you being your full self, your whole being, your whole person. Once you're there, you'll attract the person who's on your level. Back then, not intentionally trying to shade anybody, but I don't think I was attracting the right people for me because I wasn't my best self at all. I was a quarter of what I am today. So just food for thought. If you don't feel fully secure in yourself, you really won't be in super healthy relationships until you meet yourself where you are. And here's the thing. There will be times where you don't feel fully secure. However, you have to do the work, enough work to feel like you have a good grasp on yourself, your identity, who you are, your interests. You have people outside of your relationship as well. I think that is a big part of this conversation. I see a lot of people who truly abandon their friends, abandon their hobbies, abandon things that they love for the sake of someone else. That's deeply unhealthy. But anywho, I just wanted to talk about the single friend for a hot second because I have been her. I sometimes still am her. There have been times that I have been negatively affected by that trope, but I'm trying to regain my sense of self and I'm trying to regain my worth when it comes to being single because as independent as I am, as self-assured as I am, as strong and capable as I am, there are times where I feel that lack. And that's normal. That's human biology. I would be lying to myself. I would be lying to you guys if I just minimize that feeling. That's not fair to me to minimize a feeling that I feel. It's also not fair to come on this mic and say that I never feel lonely. I miss being with someone. Being the single friend kind of sucks sometimes, but you're single by choice. You're single because no one has come along and made it worthwhile to give up your single hat. All right. No one has come through who is worthy of you yet. Emphasis on yet, because you are on a path. I actually was thinking about this about 2 weeks ago. I was doing a work project and I was running around the city and something in the New York City skyline made me quite literally stop on the sidewalk and look up and think, wow, I feel as though I had an epiphany about my life. I feel as though I had an epiphany about me being in my current position, doing all this amazing stuff for myself, doing work that I really feel inspired by, changing the world in a way, in a small scale way. For now, the thought ran across my mind that I am single right now because I'm supposed to be, because I'm supposed to get certain things done on my own without someone else coming in who is probably wrong for me at this time. Does that make sense? Are you following that logic? If someone were to come into my life right now who might not be my person, they might disrupt the flow. You got to think about it from the opposite lens. As much as it kind of sucks to see some of your friends who are super happy, it doesn't suck. You're happy for them, of course, but you look at them and you think, okay, well, if it happens for them, it can happen for me, which is a positive way to think about it. But also, you might feel a lack in yourself when you see that. I know that I have. I will be the first one to step up and say I have felt a little bit of a lack and a little sadness when I see all my friends super happy and I don't have that yet. And it's mostly because I've waited so long. 5 years is not a small chunk of time. That's actually pretty substantial. And I think there is some mental gymnastics that you have to do to really not let yourself get super sad and not sit in that sadness and keep it moving. But it's really important to call out those emotions within yourself. I love journaling about it. I love talking to a few friends who I really trust about it. I actually had a 3-hour hangout with one of my good friends this past Sunday. And one thing about me and her, we will beat a dead horse. We will go back and think about all the guys who did me wrong and all the guys who she has personally witnessed do stupid shit. And she will continuously say, this guy's a bad person. He wasn't worth your time. You've bounced back so well and you're going to find your person. And she just lets me talk and vent and she gives her take. And me and her are very emotionally intelligent. We have that same wavelength. We know that we're great people and we really lean off of each other in that way. And she has a boyfriend and he's great. I've met him. I've hung out with him a few times. He's great. And he treats her like a princess as she deserves. And this was actually her first relationship, her first true boyfriend ever. And he treats her literally like a princess. I have seen it. I know what's going on. I love it. I'm so happy for her. And I keep on telling her that because she was kind of in that same mindset as me once upon a time. And she would always say that she didn't know if it was going to happen for her, but she knew that she was worth so much and she has so much going for her and she has so much to offer the right person. And that's absolutely true. So I think about all of those really great conversations we've had. That does help me a lot. And especially being her friend is great because she's one of those people who will not side sweep her friends for a guy. She has literally never canceled a plan at all. She's been with her boyfriend for a while now, and we see each other literally just as consistently as we did when we were all single. So that is very telling of a very good friend. And if you're in a situation where you have a friend or a friend group who you do feel like the perpetual single friend, I really encourage you to sit and have conversations about how you feel with these friends. I think it is really important. It's really healthy to be able to talk about kind of uncomfortable things with your friends. I would slot this under something that is a little uncomfortable because, of course, your friend isn't the reason why you're single, but they could really step up probably in their friend role and make you feel so included and check in with you and let you vent and let you talk. And you will still feel super connected with them. And you might not feel as single as you are. I think friendships can be really fruitful in that way. The next subtopic I want to talk about is dry spells. So, y'all, let's talk about it. If you don't know what a dry spell is, essentially it's a term for not having sex for a while. The amount of time is subjective. For me, I would say a dry spell is anything over 3 months. How long has it been? It's been a while now. I did tell you guys about my rendezvous with a guy, and I did end up breaking my 9-month dry spell. And that was in May. We are in August. So now it's been another 3 months. I don't know if it's something about the summer specifically and me feeling extra flirty and in my feminine. I don't know, but it is really, it's really at the top of my mind. It's been at the top of my mind for a while now. And I think it's important to talk about, especially if you are a girl like me who really values being in your feminine and you really want to lean into that sensual side of you. It's super important to me. And it's crazy that it's been almost a whole year of my celibacy journey / just abstaining from casual sex and hookup culture. I retired that hat a long time ago now. And it's because as much as I enjoy sex, I just know it really doesn't make me feel good when I have a casual hookup with somebody who doesn't even give two shits about me. It just doesn't hit the same as it did in college. And honestly, in college, it only hit because alcohol was involved. Let's be honest. Sober me does not care for it at all. And honestly, I think about every single time I do go out and drink, go out and have a day drink with my friends or my very one-off night outs with my friends, that always comes up in my brain as, okay, well, I would like to have sex, but I'm not just going to go have sex with anybody. That's just not my style. I've retired that. And so here we are. That's how we've found ourselves in another 3-month dry spell. Dry spells are tough. It's tough because you also might be like me. You just crave human touch. I crave human touch so much. I was telling my friend this past weekend. We were talking about a lot of things regarding dating. And I was telling her how my highest love language is words of affirmation. And right below that, directly below it, it's not even that much lower. It is physical touch. Physical touch is deeply important to me, especially in a romantic relationship scenario. That will do it for me every single touch. Oh my God. Do you see where my brain's at? That will do it for me every single time. I love a inner thigh grab. I love a lower back grab. I love a lot of other things that maybe I won't really get into explicitly on this podcast, so it's not rated X. But all that to say is I miss the hell out of it, and I miss feeling close to somebody in that way. Intimacy is so important. It connects people. I really enjoy it. I miss it. I find that I'm reading more about it in books than actually having it in real life, and I'm yearning for it at this point. But I will not compromise my self-respect for a lay. I won't do it. I won't do it. I'm also not here telling you what to do. Of course, I'm just sharing my truth. I'm sharing how I feel about the topic. I do have a pretty funny story that I do want to share on the podcast about dry spells and specifically about being touch starved. If you don't know what the term touch starved means, it essentially means that you are starved for human touch. You haven't been touched by someone you're attracted to, or really anybody in a way that's consensual, of course. You haven't been touched in a long time. You haven't, of course, been intimate in a long time. So you are quite literally yearning for it. I'm there. I've been there for a while. I was reading this in a book recently. I don't know if it was Beach Read by Emily Henry. I'm not sure, but one of my July books I read did talk about being touch starved, quite literally set off an entire train of thought in my brain. And I kind of went on a little spiral because I realized how much I am touch starved. The concept in the book was talking about how somebody who is a caregiver to you, you can feel that way towards that person. It's not the person itself. It's the fact that the person is taking care of you. They are quite literally touching you in ways that is their job, and they're licensed to do that, of course, but it can get misconstrued in your brain because you are spending very intimate time with said caregiver. It could be misconstrued. All right. So now for the story. If you guys have been listening for a while, you know that I am in physical therapy, and I've been in physical therapy for a very long time, but I have a new physical therapist. I've been working with him since mid-June. I see him more than I see any of my friends. I see him twice a week for weeks and weeks and weeks. He is one of my most consistent people I see. First of all. Second of all, he is licensed and a professional to treat my knee. I had knee surgery, TLDR. I'm in PT for the injury. So every single time I walk into the physical therapy office, he is obviously touching me. He's touching my thighs. He's touching my knee. He's touching a lot of other places to do his job. And he's great. He's so great. You know, it's really funny. I really wanted to tell this story on TikTok, but I just didn't want it to get misconstrued in a weird way. I didn't want people to be weird because unfortunately people can be weird. But here on this podcast, I felt as if it was my duty to tell this story for the girls. So this is a NK exclusive, but also my PT has also just been very sweet and kind to me. Again, it's his job. He's literally just doing his job, but he's just been very sweet and kind with me. He's picked up on a lot of my mannerisms. He's picked up on the inflections in my voice. He has asked me if things are wrong, if I am a little more quiet on certain days. He also takes note if I'm really happy and mentions it. He goes above and beyond. He actually really does. And he just so happens to be the opposite sex. And he just so happens to be very strong and picks up weights really easily. And he has his button-down shirt rolled up. His forearms are showing. He's funny. Last week, he had another patient alongside me, and she is an older lady who only speaks Spanish. And he just flipped into speaking fluent Spanish. Why did that turn me on? I don't love that about me. A little bit of a toxic trait. Okay, not even toxic. He's a good person. He's a really good person. I was feeling some type of way. And unfortunately, once my brain goes there, I can't pull it back. I really can't. I was in physical therapy yesterday and he was making a joke and I literally had to look away. Thankfully, he walked away and I looked away and I was like, NK, stop. NK, stop. He's literally your PT. Please stop thinking about him in a sexual way. Please. Again, this is all me. He did nothing wrong, for the record. But guys, I am very touch starved because every single time oh my God, there are so many other things. This is about to be book talk in 1 second. There was a moment where he was putting ankle weights on me and he told me to move to the side of the bed. And the way he said it like a normal freaking human being, but I went there in my brain. He said, come over here. Again, it's his freaking job. It's his goddamn job. And I got flashbacks. I got flashbacks to past sexual experiences. Girls who get it. I can't unsee it now. I really can't unsee it. That's how I know I am deeply touch starved. But hey, that doesn't mean I'm going to go run and go sleep with someone today, tomorrow. No, I'm not. I have no roster also, if anyone's curious, but that's okay. It's okay because I haven't been met with somebody who is on my level. Until I do, I will be abstaining. Just have to get through it. I want to have a little note about using toys, masturbation. I have talked about this in the past, but it's interesting. I haven't felt as though that is doing it for me right now. I haven't done that in a while, but I think it's a mental block. It's a mental block knowing that I haven't been physically touched by another human in a while. So the self-pleasure kind of just doesn't hit the same. I'm a very mentally stimulated person, and I just find that there is a disconnect sometimes when it comes to self-pleasure. And that's a journey that I have to take, and that's a journey that I have to figure out. And I'm just literally rattling off my thoughts for the girls. A little reminder, this is for the girls. This is for the girls. Yeah. But dry spells kind of suck. I also think about how having a sex life is important. It's important to me. I kind of miss that era, that category of my life. I find that I've been putting my time and efforts into all the other parts of my life that are great and make me feel whole and make me feel happy. But that is a whole component of life that I have not even dabbled in for a long time. So maybe I'll have an update for you guys in the next few months. Again, I have no roster. I don't like the dating apps. I'm not really going out that much because I'm training for a marathon. So one thing I'll say actually about running for a hot second is that it has helped curb that urge because I'm literally fully focused on something else. Running has become low-key a drug, a very healthy drug, and I'm kind of leaning into that. So if any of you guys are also in a dry spell, touch-starved, reading books has been fun to feel that excitement, that steam within the pages. And then also just really active hobbies like running. But if you're not a runner, try something that's really active. You might have to figure out if you enjoy. Sex isn't everything. Sex is fun. It is, but it's not everything. I would rather do it with somebody who I feel really connected to because I think that makes it way more fun than to just do it with someone random who doesn't even care about me. And then I feel even more shitty because that's always what happens. I feel even more shitty. And then I say, I will never do this again. But now I'm actually standing on it. I won't be participating in hookup culture, and that is my truth. The last subtopic I wanted to talk about is rejection is redirection. Could take this in a few ways. I could take this with friendships. I could take this with work opportunities, but I really wanted to specifically talk about dating. This is one that makes a lot of us feel like we're not worthy. When we get rejected by a guy, whether it is someone who you are actually attracted to and you are interested in, or a guy that you gave a chance to and he fumbled you, both of them kind of staying the same because it is a rejection at the end of the day. Someone else dictating that you are not worth their time. That doesn't mean that you're unworthy. It just means that they don't even understand your worth. And that's okay. It's okay because you know your worth. It's okay because you know what you're all about. I had a situation happen. This was over a month ago at this point, but I was sitting with my friend at the bar and we were there for about 2 hours. This is one of our favorite bars we go to all the time. We're talking with the bartender. We're talking with ourselves. We're having a whole conversation. However, when we get there, I personally see a guy in the corner of the bar. He is hot. He's very hot. And I just do a little mental note. That guy's hot. Maybe within the time that we're here, maybe something will happen with the guy. Maybe he'll come over, say hi. I don't know. So me and my friend are talking at the bar. Probably an hour into being at the bar, said guy, who I think is hot, walks up to us, does not even acknowledge me, has a napkin with his number on it, hands it to my friend and says, "You're very beautiful. Have a great night." I'm happy for my friend, of course, in the moment. Also, at the same time, you feel kind of shitty. You think, all right, well, a guy who you are interested in is not interested in you. That one will do it for me every time. That one will make me feel shitty every single time. And it's a normal feeling. It's a normal feeling to feel shitty that a guy you're interested in isn't interested in you totally. However, rejection is redirection. He wasn't my person. So in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. He also didn't even live here. She ended up following him on Instagram and he was actually leaving that day. Does not even live in America. That's the funniest part. But rejection is redirection. In a dating scenario, I have realized how many times I have really wanted something to work. And there's times where I've almost forced something to work. I forced a guy's hand. I have given ultimatums. All of these things are so unnecessary. And the right guy will make it so abundantly clear that he wants you. And that's that. That's truly the entire story. I have also realized that being rejected by guys in dating has honestly steered me into leaning into my friends more. It steered me into reconnecting with family more. It steered me into pursuing the career I love and really growing in my self-confidence. It's redirection at the end of the day. No matter what type of redirection, it's still redirection. It's still bettering yourself as a result of something that is temporarily shitty. You're going to be bettering yourself and you're going to be pushing forward and doing really great things for yourself. That is always what I want to remember whenever I'm in a situation where I feel rejected, because the feeling itself sucks. I'm not going to sit here and be on a high horse and say that the feeling doesn't suck. I won't diminish that because I know how much it sucks. But you who's listening, you need to remember anytime you've ever been rejected by a dumbass guy, that's all he was, a dumbass guy. If he doesn't see how amazing you are, that's his fucking loss. It is. It always is. It always will be his loss. And you'll find someone better. Someone else better will come along. And I always also think about some of the influencers who I know and who I follow who have openly shared their lives on the internet. And I've seen the progression of their relationships. I've seen how a few of the first relationships that they ever shared did not work out. And then they are currently with literally the best people ever, the people who treat them like princesses. And that is always so heartwarming for me to see. And I know that I don't know these people personally, but I'm literally rooting for them because it truly just shows that you will go through life and you will see there will be a lot of ways that you're going to be rejected. So let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Rejection will happen. It will happen. It's about what you do with that rejection that really will be the game changer of your life, whether it is moving to your dream city, working at your dream brand or dream company, or just doing what you really want to in this life. Rejection will take you there. And we do not revolve our life around a man. We never have, we never will. We are our own person. We are our own entity. We have so much going for us. Having a boyfriend isn't even that cool. They are truly just a value add to your life. They are the least interesting thing about you. And you need to remember that. And with that, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Misunderstood. Remember to rate the show 5 stars on Apple and Spotify and follow it wherever you're listening. Join our Geneva group chat. It is always linked in the description of every single podcast episode. Hang out with me on my other socials, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Pinterest at NK Madani. And I will talk to you guys in my next one.